You're trying to lose body fat, maybe drop a few pounds on the scales, but nothing seems to be working. You feel like you're doing everything right. You're watching what you eat, you're training hard, but it's just not clicking. What if I told you that there could be one thing that could be stopping that weight and fat loss progress, and it's really simple? You could be consuming an extra 300 to 500 calories per day without even realizing it. Today, I'm going to show you where these extra 300 to 500 calories could be hiding in your nutrition and lifestyle to ensure that you can make sure you're not consuming any extra calories and you're sticking to the plan and you can finally see those weight and fat loss goals that you've dreamed of for so long. For anyone new around here, hi, I'm Joe. I'm a Team GB gymnast turned fat loss coach. And at any point during this video, if you want more advice on weight and fat loss, I've put everything you need to know. The first link in the description, you can get absolutely everything you need to know to get you started on your weight and fat loss journey, or maybe remind you about what's really important for absolutely free. And the second link is going to tell you a little bit more about how I work with people to help them achieve these goals. To lose body fat or lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. This is where simply your body is consuming fewer calories than it is burning day to day. But there are a few things that you may not have thought of that could be completely throwing that calorie deficit off the rails. Now, you should probably have an idea of what you are consuming day to day. So if you've not started tracking your calories, I definitely suggest you do that. Doesn't have to be forever, but definitely for a period of time, because if you don't do that or you never have done that, you're a little bit behind where this video starts. So maybe start doing that and then come back to watch this bit. These are things that you may have missed when it comes to tracking calories. And it's so important you double check this, because this has saved my clients hundreds and hundreds of calories, meaning literal pounds and pounds of body weight, body fat they have dropped because they have changed and noticed these few simple things. Number one, the hidden calories that nobody tracks. Most people can track their main meals reasonably well, okay? They've got their main meal, right, I've got a main, side, protein, carbohydrates, whatever I've got, okay, add it up, this is how much of this much, this is how much of this much. And often I find that people forget everything in between. For example, the cooking oil you used to cook dinner, the milk that you used for your 2 coffees a day, if you're like me, 2 or 3, maybe 3 sometimes, that bite of somebody else's food, that handful of nuts you had mid-afternoon as a snack, that sugary drink, these are the key culprits that really trip people up. If you're tracking your calories, you need to treat yourself like a child with something really simple, and this is where the accountability of putting your food and all the calories you consume day to day into MyFitnessPal, into a tracking app, comes into play. You need to be tracking every single aspect of everything you consume. Food and drink, the oils, the sauces, everything. I see so many people trip up on this and it completely throws off the deficit they think they have created. These often don't feel like calories. They're not food, you're not eating them. The olive oil, the sauces, so does it really count? Yes, of course it counts, and this is the real problem. A tablespoonful of olive oil is probably about 120 calories. Give me some room either side there. So 2 of these added to your meal could nearly be adding 300 calories that you've not even thought of. Now, that little habit, that little thing, that small thing, and making a simple change to fry light using the air fryer, these things can make a massive difference, because you imagine nearly 300 calories per day, add that up over the week, it could completely blow your deficit out of the water and leave you in the same place as you very, very, very much started. You're throwing away extra calories, you don't even realize it, that could be used for food. Before I get onto a point which you're probably not going to like, I'm going to talk to you about portion control. Research shows that people underestimate their calorie intake between 10 to 20%, and often that can be a lot higher. That's on average. So you may be massively underestimating what food, the amounts you are consuming day to day. I used to do this all the time, and this is why every so often I'll go back to tracking my calories for a set number of days, weeks, months, because I need the reminder that I can't just eyeball, or I'm not as good as I think I am at eyeballing foods and their weights. Think about the last time you made some pasta or some rice. Often that measurement that you think is about 70 grams and you put it in MyFitnessPal, sometimes I've done it and it can be nearly double. Maybe it's 110, 120, 130 grams instead. So you need to make sure you are being accurate with what you are inputting. Because if you imagine you're slightly off, if you do it once, it's not going to make a difference. But if you're slightly off every single time when you're preparing a meal or making dinner, that's going to, again, massively affect your deficit, and you might not even be in one without realizing it. Often I even find that people who actually are tracking their calories can be off or way off to what they actually think they're consuming. This is because they are estimating rather than measuring. Get yourself some scales, do it for a period of time, make sure you are accurately tracking, as accurate as possible, the foods you are consuming. I know it's not always possible to track your calories 100% accurately 100% of the time, but you need to do your absolute and utmost best when doing so to ensure you stay in a deficit. Now, if you're anything like me, you will love a meal out, but often these can be the things that can trip you up. Now, I'm not demonizing going for a curry or grabbing a Chinese. Everybody needs balance, and if you can fit that into your calories, into your week, absolutely, it's something you can do. It is all down to preference. But the problem is when you go out, unless you're a chef and you're making the food in the restaurant, which I've never experienced because I'm not a chef, you're not in control of how they're cooking that food, what exactly they're putting in that food. You can ask the chef, you can look at the calories on the menu, but you're not in the kitchen making that meal. So this is where restaurants may be using sauces, oils, butter, things, additional calories in your food that you've not realized and you're not tracking alongside the meal. So you're tracking your meal and you've not included those sauces, sides, or maybe sauces, oils, cooking oils, all of those things. You're not including those, but you're still consuming them. So you think you're 200 under your calories for the day, but actually you're 400 over without even realizing. Research shows that restaurant meals often contain more than 1,200 calories. Now, that is probably, for most of you watching, about half of your daily intake. Some of you will be on a bit more, maybe a bit less, but that is half. So you've got to factor in, if you're going for those meals, I would buffer massively, more than you think, for that meal. Also, so you can enjoy the meal a little bit more. You want to be able to have a drink with your curry or have a beer. And then, of course, we've got to talk about the healthy food trap. Earlier, I told you that the key to fat loss is consuming fewer calories than you are burning day to day. Fat loss, weight loss, that is where you need to be in order for that to happen and make that change. Now, these healthy foods often can be a lot higher in calorie than you expect. Maybe it's a acai bowl, maybe it's a smoothie, maybe it's a granola, whatever it is, just because you may deem it as healthier and it may be marketed as high protein, healthier, it may not be bacon, eggs and oil, it doesn't mean it doesn't have high calorie content. Granolas, nuts can be massive. Foods like this can have massively high calorie content. And no matter what you are consuming, if you are smashing your calorie deficit out of the park by accident with granola bars, you're not going to be losing body fat and you're not going to be losing weight. Get the light butter, use Fry Light, do these things, but check and be sure the calories you are consuming are actually the true amount. I see so many people making these mistakes, and a few small tweaks and checks to their nutrition and diet can make a massive progress when it comes to their fat loss or seeing that number gradually go down on the scales. If you've not been losing weight or you feel like you've plateaued, make sure you've got these things in check because it might just change that. For more weight and fat loss advice, I've put everything you need to know to get you started or remind you of what's really important when it comes to weight and fat loss. You can grab them, first link in the description, for absolutely free. And the second link is going to tell you more about how I work with people to help them achieve these goals. Accountability, full structure and support, an amazing community, everything they need, maybe you need, to succeed and actually achieve that goal for once. You can find that in the second link. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, YouTube's going to suggest a video right here because it's really clever, much more clever than I. And if you enjoyed this one, you're going to enjoy that one. So just go and watch that.